Yes, everybody, and welcome back to another daily drop brought to you by TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner. Joining me, as he always does, probably doesn't need an introduction at this point. You guys know who he is. It's our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And AJ, we're here for another Carolina basketball-related drop in this one. And we're going to be talking about which one of the 7 guys that transferred out of Carolina this offseason might surprise us the most coming up next season. So I'm interested to see what you have, because there's a lot of, obviously, 7 guys that left. Some of them ended up in intriguing spots, and some that did leave were a little bit of a surprise to us that they left in the first place. And I expect a handful of these guys where they ended up to have some pretty good years for their new program. So I'm going to kick it to you first. Which one of the 7 guys that left and transferred out do you think is going to surprise the most with what he does at his new program this upcoming season?
Well, let's name all 7 and where they went,
okay,
just in case somebody doesn't know or forgot. So, and make sure that we're on that same page too. Caleb Love went to Arizona.
Yep.
Justin McCoy went to Hawaii.
Yep.
Will Shaver, he's at UAB, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because Belmont. Okay, there's some. We want to get.
He was at Belmont, and then he.
Yeah, we don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to get into why that happened.
Yeah, no.
You've got Dontrez Styles at Georgetown. DeMarco Dunn is at
Penn State.
Puff
Johnson's
Johnson's
as well.
At Penn State. Who are we forget? Tyler Nichols at Virginia Tech. Mm-hmm. Who else are we forgetting? Anybody?
I think that is Caleb Love, Arizona. Did we say that one? Yeah,
I did. Caleb Love, Arizona. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm intrigued by all 7.
Yeah, of course.
I'm really intrigued by how many minutes Justin McCoy gets at Hawaii.
Yeah, not a bad place to go to school, though, is it?
He's a good dude. And yeah. I hope he has a really good experience there. I don't have anything against it. I know some of them better than others, obviously. You know Caleb pretty well, and I think Caleb's going to do well in Arizona. And based on expectations, Carolina fans probably expect him to shoot poorly and might want him to shoot poorly. I don't know how Carolina fans are going to react other than the game that Arizona plays at Duke. But the guy who really intrigues me the most, I wouldn't say intrigues me, but I think is going to outperform expectations, is Puff Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be totally wrong, and this is just my read, but I sensed a lot last year that Puff just wasn't happy.
Yeah. Wasn't
comfortable there anymore, getting sort of passed by a little bit. Never really he fit more into what Roy wanted to do than what Hubert wanted to do. And there were some I know Puff's dad a little bit. I got to know Cam. I felt like I got to know Puff a little bit as well and had a good read on him. And there were times where I would see him during warm-ups, and he was always at the end on the sideline, at home when they would do the stretching stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a little nod or something like that. I just kind of sense like the same spirit wasn't there. And that happens. It doesn't make him a bad kid. Doesn't mean he doesn't like Carolina. Doesn't mean anything like that at all. Sometimes people just need a change of scenery. They need a new fit. And I think that going to Penn State, where there isn't the spotlight that there is on Carolina, going to Penn State where they lost a lot of guys because they lost their coach, who's now at Notre Dame. So there's going to be plenty of playing time there. He will start. He's going to play a lot of minutes. I think that there's a lot of nice little elements to his game that make for a pretty solid package that might require 25 or 30 minutes a night for all of it to come out. If you're a guy who doesn't do one or two things super well, it's hard for your whole game to reveal itself in 4 and 5 minute stretches.
Yeah.
But he's going to have a whole game every night for it to happen. So I think a lot of that will come out. I think he'll be a consistently productive player, kind of putting his hands into a lot of stat boxes for the Nittany Lions. So I think Puff will be that guy. I hope he's that guy. I will openly say that I'll root for him to be that guy because there's so much to like about him, his story, his family, and everything else. So, and I don't root against any of these kids because this is their one shot. You want to see them reach their potential. And I want to see Puff reach his potential.
No doubt.
His zenith at Carolina was a national title game.
Yeah.
And then last year just wasn't the way he thought it was going to be, everybody thought it was going to be. So it'd be pretty cool if he does pretty well there.
Agreed.
I've got no problem acknowledging that.
Yeah, just got to stay healthy too, right? That's always been a hindrance as well. I think if he can go to Penn State and stay healthy, he'll play a lot there. And I think if he is healthy and he is confident, he'll have a good year because we saw glimpses at Carolina of what he can do. You know what I mean? And if any family has proven that transferring to a different program can lead to a a totally different outcome. I think it's the Johnsons with what Cam did and, what he just signed up. I can't remember how big of a contract, but it was a pretty hefty, pretty nice chunk of change contract.
$107 million, maybe? Was it $107 million?
Something like I wouldn't mind having.
And Puff's got 2 years. Puff's got 2 years at Penn State, just like Cam had 2 years at Carolina. So
I'm telling you, man, it could be deja vu all over again. AJ, I'm easy pick for me. I've been the conductor of this train really since he committed to Carolina, and especially since late night with Hubert or whatever the heck they call it now. I always get it confused. Tyler Nickel. I was disappointed to see him leave Carolina. I really thought he could have been a really good player for North Carolina. I thought he was underutilized last year. I thought we saw glimpses of what he could do. I can't remember what game was it that he had a big game against someone early in the season. I can't remember who it was now. We actually came in and played significant minutes and had a good chunk of points in that one.
Yeah, it was one of the non-conference Patsies.
I can't remember who it was, but
he had a couple of good moments, but it was a non-conference Patsy.
Yeah,
he had 16 or something.
I remember he seemed like he got an opportunity and played well. And then after that, he just kind of vanished. And even going back to the late night with Hubert scrimmage, whatever it's called, big game in that as well. And I loved his game going back to high school because he has a little bit of an edge to him. B, I thought he was a good size and physicality for it, but I just thought he was a talented player. I mean, AJ, you can't finish as the leading scorer in Virginia basketball history and I don't care who you're playing against, and be a crappy basketball player. There has to be something talent-wise there, and there has to be a high-end talent level there to be able to do that, especially when you look at the two guys behind him are Allen Iverson and Mac McClung, who I know different careers altogether, but two really talented players in their own rights. Obviously, AI just, he's AI. So
that's a great state that Virginia's produced a ton.
It's a heck of a state for basketball, man.
So you're 100% right about that.
I was intrigued at what he could do. I understand the reason he left because I didn't feel like a lot of players last year that he really got a fair shot. And I think he should have been utilized more in the lineup, especially later on in the season when Carolina just needed something different to try to work. But I like the fit at Virginia Tech too. I think it fits his game. In-state school, but the way Virginia Tech plays, they like to jack up threes, as we know, AJ. That's Tyler Nickel's game. I think he's going to be very, very good at Virginia Tech. And he might not have a breakout year. He might go in next year and have maybe average 9 points and 4 rebounds. But I think as he stays at Virginia Tech, that stat line is continuing to go up. But in saying that, I also wouldn't be surprised next year if he's one of Virginia Tech's best players, because I think the talent, the size, the athleticism, and as we like to say, he's got a little bit of that screw you factor to him as well, AJ. So I'm really looking forward to the matchup against Carolina because I think that one's going to be fun. So for me, it's Tyler Nickel. But if I had to pick somebody behind that, it would probably be a mix between Puff Johnson and maybe a Caleb Love, because I think Caleb Love that's an easy one to say because of what happened at Carolina and where he ended up. So
I think Caleb's going to have a huge year in Arizona.
I think you do. I think his game fits Arizona a little bit better. Yeah. And you know what I like, AJ? I like that Steve Robinson connection. I really do. It's a guy that recruited.
I agree.
He knows his game. And I think having a guy that understands how Caleb Love works and how to get the best out of Caleb Love, you'll probably see
I think
Arizona
had Steve,
the best out of
had Steve been on Carolina's staff last year, I think Caleb's season would have gone a little bit differently. I agree with you there. That's a really, really astute point too, by the way. The Tyler Nickel thing, I'll hit on this real quickly before we head on out. If you noticed, I do think that Tyler and Buff were the two bench players that were underused the most.
Agreed.
And I get why Jalen wasn't. And I asked Hubert a couple times about Jalen Washington, and then privately some stuff, in the program, just trying to get some information. I get that. So this year, that's different. But I think that if you watch Puff and Nickel in particular, they weren't as aggressive in January than February as they were in November and December.
That's a great point.
Nickel had the ability to put the ball on the floor and make something happen. He did that a lot early in the year. He played more hot potato. It's interesting. He got shots pretty quickly when he was inserted in the game in November, December. He'd play 6 or 7 minutes in a game in February when he would shoot. Mm-hmm. So he started playing hot potato with the ball. And at Virginia Tech, they're going to say, hey, remember that Hunter Couture guy? You could be him with the bill. Hunter could put on the floor a couple of bounces and create a pull-up jumper. It's beautiful. Nickel can get to the rim.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that element come out. And I think you're right. I mean, it's very possible he could explode.
I really think he has the potential.
They'll put him in position where if it's there for the taking this year for him to explode, I think that they'll find out.
Yeah.
But I think your first point about him, I sort of agree with a little bit more. I think we'll see a nice jump But I think the two all ACC potential type production years would be his junior and senior.
Agreed.
Not this coming year.
I just really like his game. I was disappointed to see him leave. He was one of the players in my time at THI that Carolina got that he was probably the guy I was most intrigued about because he wasn't an incredibly highly rated guy, still highly rated. But when you look at what he did in high school and his game overall, he intrigued me a lot. So I think Virginia Tech's a great fit for him in state. And I think he's going to have a big year. I think he's going to have a big career at Virginia Tech. Like I said, might not be exponential growth next year, but I think he has a big time career at Virginia Tech. So those are our guys. Puff Johnson for AJ, Tyler Nickel for me. Want to hear from y'all. Get involved. Links below. Twitter, Facebook, our website as well. Just get involved. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know the guys that transferred out, who you're the most kind of intrigued about and who you think could have big seasons coming up next year. I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. Another daily drop. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification bell with as much as we're uploading. If you want to know exactly when a video comes out, hit that notification bell and you'll do just that. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.
Thanks.